With all the rumors online about the PlayStation 5 getting delayed until 2021, is it possible that this worst-case scenario could extend the lifespan of the PS4 all the way until 2025? 5 years from now sounds like a heck of a long ways away for a console whose successor has already been announced. But we think there's a very legitimate possibility that the PS4 continues to be a viable console 3 to 5 years from now. Why is that? Well, there's more to it than just the rumored PS5 delay. So let's get into it right now. There's a real chance that the PS5 gets delayed, and it's partly because of what's dominating every news outlet known to man right now, and partly because of a parts shortage. You see, to make a console, you need many different parts ordered from many different places. Shocking, we know, but these parts all go to a production facility that then puts them all together to make the console. Sony's having trouble getting their hands on a large supply of DRAM and NAND memory, two incredibly important parts. Because they're on very high demand from smartphone makers, and on top of all that, those two parts come from China, a country that may be experiencing a labor shortage among other things. With everything going on in China, coupled with the fact that the supply for DRAM and NAND memory is in high demand, it's really not a good situation for Sony to be in right now. Not very good at all. Think about it. If the demand for DRAM and NAND memory is at an all-time high and supply stays the same or is slightly reduced, then that not only means there'll be a parts shortage, it also means that there'll be the worst thing known to buyers, a price increase. Since these parts are so expensive for Sony to get a hold of, the cost to produce the PS5 is rumored to have soared to incredible heights. What kind of heights are we talking about? Well, nothing crazy, just $450. Yep, that's right. A single PS5 is rumored to cost Sony nearly $500,000 to produce. This most likely means that the PS5 will sell for around $500, which could price out some cash-strapped gamers. But if a $500 console is over your budget, then you wouldn't even consider the higher-end model. According to rumors, there's a good chance that Sony doesn't only launch one PS5 console. Oh no! Two's always better than one, so they may launch a $600 PS5 Pro with 13 freaking teraflops alongside the regular PS5. This PS5 Pro will go toe-to-toe with the Xbox Series X in a specs war for the ages, while the regular PS5 will do battle with Microsoft's rumored less expensive and less powerful console, codenamed Lockhart. With the PS5 most likely going to cost anywhere between $500 and $600, depending on the version you get, and the fact that it may be delayed until 2021, it makes more sense than ever to think that the PS4 still has a good 3 years left in it. But if you thought that's the only reason why we think that, well, you'd be mistaken. It turns out that there's an easy way for you to improve the performance of your PS4 right now, and all it takes is anywhere between 5 minutes to 2 hours. To begin, simply turn your PS4 off. It has to be completely off though, not in rest mode or anything like that. It's gotta be fully shut down. Then wait a few seconds and hold down the power button on the PS4 console itself. Keep it held down until you hear a second beep. By then, you should see the safe mode menu appear on your TV or gaming monitor. Make sure you connect a DualShock 4 controller through a USB cable. Select Rebuild Database and wait until the process is complete. It could take a while, but once it's finished, your PS4 should have a small increase in speed and performance. With tricks like these, are you ever going to want to upgrade to a PS5? There's also plenty of games that are still going to be made on the PS4. Developers have made it clear that they're far from done with the PS4. There's going to be a bit of a transition phase from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5, so developers are going to make sure this goes smoother by eventually creating games for both consoles. It'd be pretty ridiculous if they just said, "Nah, we're done with the PS4," and immediately moved on to the PS5. So it's very likely that games will be created for both consoles for at least the next 2 years. After all, Sony themselves have said they see the PS4 being viable until 2022, which is a bit shorter than our prediction, but it's not possible to reach that goal without developer support. It's also very likely that these games will support cross-play between PS4 and PS5 players. So, if the game doesn't look as good or run as smooth on your PS4, you could play with your buddy who already upgraded to the PS5 and is gaming on his fancy 8K TV. See, the PS5 definitely isn't a console you need to buy the second it comes out. As of right now, the only PlayStation exclusive that'll be on the PS5 and not the PS4 is Godfall, and even that game will be released on PC, so it's more of a console exclusive really. Most of the upcoming games that have us gamers really excited will be released on the PS4 before an upgraded version comes out on PS5. If ever. We'll just name a few of them right now. The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, Cyberpunk 2077, Marvel's Avengers, Predator, Hunting Grounds, the Resident Evil 3 remake, and the Final Fantasy VII remake, among many others. Just to reiterate, those are all upcoming PS4 games, despite the fact that its successor, the PS5, is less than a year away from its scheduled release. Plus, there's a good chance that almost all of these games will eventually release some sort of DLC that'll keep us playing them for many more hours. Yeah, it's safe to say that the PS4 is still going to be alive and kicking a few years from now because that's how long it'll take us to finish all these games. Now, of course, there's a chance that these games also get delayed, but they're most likely going to be released on the PS4 regardless. If developers have already gotten started, we can't see them scrapping all their hard work and solely releasing games for the PS5. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Historically, PlayStation consoles have had very long lifespans. Let's quickly take a look at the 3 previous Sony consoles so you could get an idea of what we mean. The original PlayStation was released all the way back in 1994, and the final game ever released for that console was FIFA Football 2005, which came out in 2004. The PlayStation 2 came out in 2000, meaning there was a 4-year overlap where games would occasionally be released for both consoles. The final PlayStation 2 game ever released was, you guessed it, another FIFA game. This time it was FIFA 13, which came out in 2012. Lastly, the PS3 came out in 2007, which means there was also a very long overlap between it and the PS2, as there was a 5-year period where games were being released on both consoles. The final game ever released on the PlayStation 3 was FIFA 19, just 2 years ago, back in 2018. As you know, the PS4 came out in 2013, which meant there was another 5-year overlap with it and the PS3. You notice the trend? It turns out that all 3 consoles had developer support for at least 10 years, and each of them had at least a 4-year overlap with their successor. If the PS5 ends up getting delayed until 2021, and we apply all of these averages to the PS4, then we could see 2025 as the final year games get released on the system. Now, 2025 is a long ways away and might not be super realistic, which is why we also brought up the year 2023 earlier. That seems like the safest time for developers to move on from the PS4, as it would be its 10th year of existence and all Sony consoles have lasted at least a decade. Going back to the PS5 though, if you thought that the console was already expensive, well, we've got some bad news for you because it's only going to get pricier. You see, the PS5 is full of awesome specs like 8K visuals, 120 frames per second gameplay, ray tracing, an internal SSD, and 3D audio. But to truly get the most out of these features, you're probably gonna have to be replacing your TV, your external hard drive, your gaming headset, and yeah, that's probably your entire setup. So let's start with the TV. You're going to need an 8K HDR TV with at least a 120Hz refresh rate, although 240Hz is preferred and HDMI 2.1 support. If that sounds like a mouthful, and it should, we'll try to simplify things by quickly going over why each of these features are important. An 8K TV will give you the best detail. HDR will produce better colors and contrast. A 120 to 240 Hz refresh rate will reduce input lag substantially, and HDMI 2.1 will be able to carry that massive stream of data from your console to the TV. Together, all of these specs will allow you to take full advantage of the graphical capabilities of the PS5, but it might be best to wait things out for the time being because there are only a few TVs with all these features, and the few that exist are incredibly expensive, like really expensive. For example, the smallest TV Samsung makes with all these specs is 55 inches and goes for around $2,500. Yeah, that's an absolutely insane price, but the good news is that the PS5 will also display beautiful graphics on 1080p, 1440p, or 4K screens, so you're not actually forced to upgrade. Thank goodness. As for some other gadgets that are worth purchasing for the next console generation, we think it would be a smart decision to buy an external solid-state drive as well. These can be pricey, but splashing out $250 on a 1TB SSD could actually be a pretty wise decision in the long run, even if it may hurt your wallet initially. You could remove it from its casing, open up your console, and put it inside your PS5 to expand your storage. Or you could just keep it simple and keep it plugged into your console at all times. What you choose to do may depend on how much storage the PS5 comes with. A 3D audio headset is also important, since the PS5 will support it. A professional 3D audio headset usually goes for around $300, but they're so worth it as they'll allow you to effortlessly track where sound is coming from, which could make all the difference in a shooter. In total, you could be spending up to $4,000 to get the best gaming experience on the PS5. So you may want to stick with your PS4 just a tiny bit longer. And if the rumors of a possible PS5 delay are true, you might have no choice but to do just that. We're not complaining about the PS4 possibly sticking around for a few more years, but man, it would suck if the PS5 got delayed. Are you excited for more time with your beloved PS4, or do you want a PS5 as soon as possible? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to TheGamer for more gaming videos. Thanks for watching.